Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Football Fignuts podcast. This is season 7, episode number 22. And if you're keeping track at home, that's 297 episodes. My name is Britt.
My name is Craig.
And Craig, everything is stupid.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
This season, and I know people are sitting there going, oh, he complains about the fucking seasons every year. Yeah, this one's been weird.
This one's been dumb. Dumb is my only really real description of it.
It is weird. With the Chiefs beating the Bengals this past weekend, the only one of our so our podcasting crew is 5 people. It's the 2 of us. It's our contributors, Sean and Cinch, and it's the source who works in a shadowy realms background, who sometimes sends us info and sometimes doesn't.
Right.
But between the 5 of us, we follow 4 teams, and only my team is going to the playoff, and I don't feel good about it at all.
No. The Chiefs have not really looked good.
No, I think they're going to win their first game because it's going to be, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Maybe not even that, but let's start where we always start. Craig, what are you drinking tonight?
So tonight I have a Guinness, although it is a non-alcoholic Guinness, but it's a Guinness.
It's nice. Is the NA Guinness as good as the regular?
Actually, it's very good. The only difference is, as someone who's drinking a lot of Guinnesses.
Yeah.
It doesn't have like that full, like, kind of mouth feel when you drink it. So I would say it's not as I don't want to use the word heavy. Thick. Yeah, it's not as like thick. It's a little bit thinner, but the taste is there. So
see, I like the taste of Guinness. I don't like that fullness. That's I think that's why I dislike stouts in general. Is I drink half a stout and I feel like I just ate an entire meal.
Yeah. So actually, if you ever have the chance to try one of these, you might like it if you do actually like Guinness, but don't like the whole fullness feeling. So
I will have to try that. I'll have to try that. I am drinking a Kent Falls beer I picked up a couple weeks ago, which is really good. And the name of the beer is Some Vague Reassurance That Everything's Going to Be All Right. That's the full name of the beer.
Oh, God.
It's a New England IPA, made with northeastern grown grains, hopped with bitter gold and citra. It is really nice. Really, really nice. I gotta try and find this again. I really like Kent Falls is one of the places that's become a go-to for me. We all know my love of awkward hug and double awkward hug.
I'm gonna have to actually try to go there this summer.
Yeah,
when it's not 20 degrees outside.
I got a couple of the Connecticut Beer Trail passports for Christmas. My wife bought me one, and then the source bought us each one. Oh. So now all of a sudden I've got 3 of them, which was really awkward because I was so excited to get it Christmas morning that I sent it to the podcasters. So the source is like, wait a minute. Oh, shit. He's already got one. Oh. So we now have 3. So Christy's plan is to use one as kind of the whoever's with us passport. Because you get discounts. You get 2 for 1 beers with the passport.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
Your first beer, and sometimes it's style limited, but usually it's 2 for 1 draft beer. So yeah, we definitely need to start hitting a couple of these places once the weather clears up. Although we're supposed to get some nasty weather this weekend here on the East Coast, so who knows? But all right, let's just jump right in. Burning hot takes. What have you got for me this week?
I
just threw you right into the bus there.
You did, because I had it open before I had all my Discord problems, so now the window's closed. But
oh my God. Discord, if you're listening to us, please find a way to make sure your updates don't reset our freaking settings every time you update.
Yeah, that was annoying. That was 20 minutes of saying what the fuck constantly.
Craig is like, I can't get into the channel. I can't hear you. My mic isn't recognizing. And I'm like, oh crap, you just said you just updated Discord. And he was like, yeah. I'm like, check all your settings.
Yeah. So listen. There's a whole and I'm sure we'll get into it later as not a burning hot take because it's really not.
Oh, we could get into whatever it is now. That's fine too.
Listen, and I know this sounds tinfoil hatish, so we'll just get right into it.
Yeah, let's just do it.
Since the NFL and Vegas have become best friends ever,
the culinary union,
the culinary union has taken over the NFL.
Yep.
I'm just saying, The quality of refereeing and calls has degraded immensely. And now I know every year we say, yep, oh, the referee missed that call, the referee missed. And you know what? It would happen like, say, 1 or 2 times a month. Be like, oh my God, I can't believe they blew that call, blah. But now it's like every single week, 1 or 2 games, every week, something stupid happens. And it's like a game-changing thing. Like,
and that's it.
Like
always happening in the last 2 minutes.
Exactly, like the Lions game, for example. That's one where
that 2-point conversion.
The 2-point conversion, and the lineman who they said didn't report in, but you watch on the video, he did report in, and the referee told the Dallas huddle, like, what? And then and again, I really thought the Bengals were going to lose every game they played after Burrow got hurt, but that wasn't intentional grounding.
It was not intentional grounding.
What?
There was
Chris Jones. His helmet was past the ball on the line.
Not even his helmet past the ball. His hand was even with the ball. He was in the neutral zone. Chris Jones frequently lines up in a neutral zone. He is. If you watch Chiefs football on a regular basis, there's 2 things you're going to see. You're going to see Jones offsides at some point, and you're going to see number 74 commit a holding penalty. That's I don't even bother to remember the dude's name, because that's all I know is holding 74 offense happens at least once a game, because he is the worst offensive lineman ever, and he's on the end, and he always has to deal with an edge rusher. So those are the 2 guarantees you're going to have in a Chief game in general. Now they weren't the last play of the game, but they certainly affected the flow of the game. I would say the Kadarius Toney call, very influential near the end of the game. Only one more play after that.
Yep.
The Lions call, where the 2-point conversion was nullified, very influential because they only had one more play after that.
Yep.
I think, but there is something to be said. The officiating has certainly come under scrutiny again, and while I understand the integrity of the game needs to be upheld, finding the people who show that you are not doing your job is not the right way to deal with it.
Exactly.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes threw his helmet and then said bad things during the press conference. Yes. Yes, he did. And I've often said, if I were a coach in any sport, when stuff like that happened, I would go to the person in our locker room and say, here's $100. Go get me an entire wad of singles. Fast. I don't care where you get them. Go get 100 singles. Because when I walk to that podium, I would walk up and I would say, before I take any questions, let me just go through this. I'd take out the wad of cash and I would start counting it onto the podium while I ripped the refs a new one. Well, what are you doing? I'm just getting ready for my fine here. I'm just counting out these singles for my fine because I know it's coming, because the league can't do anything but punish the people who show that it doesn't know what it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. We can debate. I mean, the source has been adamant on the whole Kadarius Toney thing. Kadarius Toney was offsides. Yes, he was. I know he could check with the official. Yes, he could have. But up until that point, how many times that exact penalty had been called all season? 3. Over like 700 offensive plays.
Yep.
You're telling me that's it's coincidence that a play that is called 99.9% of the time not a penalty because the officials want the game to flow is suddenly not enforced in that moment? I can't buy it.
Yeah,
I can't buy it.
No, and I know it's hard to compare sports, but unless the umpire's name is Angel Hernandez, by the second inning, everyone knows where the strike zone is. And it's
him and DB Buckner.
It kind of stays there, and it doesn't really move. That's the other name, yes. But unless you're one of them, the strike zone can literally be anywhere. It could be behind you, for all you know. So
I called amateur softball games once upon a time, and I'm not saying that amateur softball games are anything like the NFL or like calling Major League Baseball. I remember my very first game behind the plate. The guy who was the head of the umpires union, strike, was my partner because it's a 2-man crew. and I was calling a deep strike zone. Because in softball, sometimes the ball lands and where it lands, but I was calling a deep strike zone. So around the third or fourth inning, one of the guys from the other team didn't like it and went to my partner, the head of this officiating, and said, "Your guy calls the worst strike zone I've ever seen." And he goes, "What's wrong with it?" And he goes, "Well, it's deep." He goes, "Is it consistent?" "Well, yeah, every time it's deep, he calls it a strike." "So you're telling me the strike zone's established and you just don't like it?" And he just stared at him. And he said, "If he's calling a deep strike zone, then back up and swing at the deep balls." So the guy comes up the next time, like in the seventh inning, and he comes up and he steps all the way to the back of the box. He asks the catcher to move over a foot. And he decides to actually bat with the deeper strike zone. First pitch, obviously the pitcher's used to my strike zone now. He knows what I'm going to call a strike. He throws the pitch, and this guy cranks it out of the ballpark. Like, drives it. Like, I mean, it's a softball field, so it's only like 300 feet. Drives it like 300 feet dead over center. Like the center field just looked up and watched it go. And starts running the bases. And it's like, if it's consistent, it's fine. The problem with NFL officiating is it's not consistent. And it's especially not consistent in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter the last couple weeks. You don't want scrutiny? Be consistent. You cannot start calling things that you let slide in the third quarter because there's under a minute to play.
Right. Exactly.
That's it. Well, if you want something to be more depressed about,
sure.
I'm going to bring up the elephant in the room because it's time for another episode of My Name is Aaron Rodgers. Please pay attention to me. Where this week, Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show and made some comments.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for the quote. Give me a minute. Oh, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah.
Oh, I love the Deadspin title. So I just searched Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Kimmel, and a Deadspin article comes up right away that says, "Butthurt Aaron Rodgers claims Jimmy Kimmel is on travelogue." Oh my God, that's awesome. I'm trying to find the exact quote. Where's he? I want to make sure I quote him properly. I can't find it. Where is it? Come on, I can't find it. All right, so I'm just going to have to generalize here because I'm not going to waste everybody's time. Aaron Rodgers essentially said in a nutshell that he can't wait for the Epstein list to drop.
Uh-huh.
And he's going to open a bottle of champagne because there's people out there who should be afraid that their name will be on it, like Jimmy Kimmel. This supposed Epstein list is supposedly a covert list of every person who engaged in pedophilia with Epstein. So you basically just call Jimmy Kimmel a pedophile, which if in England is pronounced pedophile, which is weird.
And not Peter File.
Not Peter File.
If you watch the IT Crowd.
It's an IT Crowd reference.
Sorry.
So basically, he called him a pedophile because Aaron Rodgers was salty because Jimmy Kimmel took a swipe at him on his Late Show a couple times. I got a couple of problems with this. Number one, Aaron Rodgers has become your garden variety beta male troll. There, I'm just going to say it that way. He's bored, he's injured, he's irrelevant. Bottom line, he's irrelevant. So he's punching up at anybody who he can get to pay attention to him. And Jimmy Kimmel's just his latest thing. Let's remind ourselves.
I think it started because I think Kimmel made I don't remember when it happened. Jokes. I think he made a joke about the vaccine status when Aaron Rodgers said he wasn't. He was, but he wasn't. I think that's where this whole thing started.
Oh, so it's Jimmy Kimmel's fault because he caught Aaron Rodgers in a lie. I mean, that's essentially what you break it down to, right? I mean,
yep.
So he goes on Pat McAfee on Tuesday. He makes this claim. This morning, Wednesday, January the 3rd. Say the 3rd? Today's the 3rd.
Yes.
Pat McAfee has to come on the air and apologize for, quote, being a part of, end quote, the joke, because it's not funny and Jimmy Kimmel's already threatening lawsuits. Rodgers needs to stop. No one thinks you're funny. No one thinks you're worthy of this time. All you do when you stand in front of a media person is bend over and show your naked ass. You did it here. You did it when you called Travis Kelce Mr. Pfizer. You did it to yourself when you lied to the media and said, I'm immunized. You did it in Chicago when you told fans that you owned them. All you have done the last 2 years is shown that you are a classless asshole. It's time to stop. And it drives me freaking nuts. And by the way, Pat McAfee's show is on ESPN, which also owns ABC, which shows Jimmy Kimmel Live.
That's right.
So I have in my head...
And we all know who owns all of that.
The mouse.
Mm-hmm.
The mouse. You may remember this years and years and years ago when ABC got bought out by Disney. Howard Stern did a skit where he had somebody do a Mickey Mouse voice and pretend he was calling the president of ABC and issuing orders.
Oh, yeah, with Roseanne Barr.
Yeah. Bitch goes now was like one of the lines in it. You know, it was like, oh, we know Roseanne's under contract. No, bitch goes now was part of the joke. I feel like that happened here. Like ESPN got the phone call and goes, do you know who this is? Are we going to stop fucking around here? You know, I was just like, oh my God. So I guess, so I've been on a little tirade here. My question to you, is this as big a deal as I see it as, or is this just a joke that failed to land on Rodgers' part?
Yeah, I mean, part of me wants to hope that he was trying to make a joke like Jimmy Kimmel does on late night, and I think and if he did, he really, really missed the mark. So, like, I'm hoping it was a joke done very, very poorly as opposed to him being serious. So.
Oh, here's the quote. There's a lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that list doesn't come out. Really? Really? It's not funny to call people a pedophile.
Yeah.
Particularly for a guy who is exactly one more Super Bowl ring than I have. And has played very, very few moments of football this year.
Like literally, like probably 7 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh Jesus, why is my computer talking? Stop that.
I don't know.
I can't. And I said to my wife tonight on the drive home, she's like, what are you guys going to talk about tonight? I'm like, everywhere I turned today was people just being jerks to each other. Like Jason Whitlock outed himself as a guy who watches porn on his computer and then got angry when people pointed it out. Oh, you didn't see this?
No, I did not.
So Jason Whitlock tweets out a picture of his computer where he's looking at NFL scores. Oh. But the banner ad is for something a little saucy and a little racy. And he puts the picture online and says, I just wanted to check NFL scores, and this disgusting ad came up. And immediately the internet let him know that those ads are generated by third-party vendors based off of your search history. Like, I plan my wife and I like to cruise like every 3 or 4 years, and it's one of those things that I go down the rabbit hole. When I'm going to take a cruise somewhere, I spend hours on the internet looking at different cruises, different cruise lines, destinations, ratings, all that stuff, to the point where if I go to any site, I get ads for cruise lines because my search history is almost all cruise lines. So the fact that you get something racy in your banner ad suggests that you are looking at racy shit. So he looks like an asshole on Twitter. One of his former coworkers at Fox Sports retweets it and is just like, I don't even know what to say about this. And he goes after her and says stuff like, it's not my fault you're a failure at every place you've ever been. Keep my name out of your mouth, basically. That's not a quote, but that was the general idea. And then people were like, whoa, why are you going after her? Because you're stuck searching for porn.
Didn't he?
And then
who did he play for? Sorry.
Jason Whitlock's he's a sports writer.
Yeah, I know, but I thought he played. Maybe he just played in college.
You're thinking of Andrew. What's his name? The guy who was a lineman for the Rams.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, different guy.
Okay.
Different guy.
Yep.
This guy's gotten fired everywhere he goes because he likes to be controversial. Like ESPN used to use him as a sit-in on things like Around the Horn or Pardon the Interruption, and then he got too bizarre, so they ended up firing him. And then Fox Sports picked him up. I think Fox Sports has kind of minimized him now over time because he's even too more extreme for them. But it hit a crescendo today when Buffalo Wild Wings jumped into the fray. Buffalo Wild Wing tweeted out a picture that they took and said, I just went to check the football scores and this delicious looking ad came up. And it's almost the exact same screen Jason Whitlock was looking at, but the banner ad is for Buffalo Wild Wings. So he's even getting trolled by major restaurants over this. So here comes Britt after a week off. And I need to get caught up on NFL news, right? So, okay, let's see what we got. Aaron Rodgers is an asshole. Okay, I knew that. There's got to be something. Oh, Jason Whitlock is being an asshole. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's got to be other things. It was all just kind of like doom and gloom bullshit today.
Yeah, because that's...
And then...
Yeah.
And then I go to Prep America's favorite game. There are 0 games of 50+. And there are 7 games under 40.
Oh, God, isn't that every game?
What the hell happened to scoring in the last month?
The referee said no. Unless...
Craig, go back like 6 episodes, and you're going to find me saying things like, all right, we got 4 games over 50 and nothing under 40. And now we have everything is under 40.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're playing a team and their secondary consists of players named Eli Apple. And another team almost puts up 60 points on you. Just saying.
I don't understand. The scoring just fell off a goddamn cliff this year.
Yeah,
is it related to the umpires? Maybe.
I mean, I think it's related to the refs, and I think it's related to the fact that half the NFL starting quarterbacks aren't playing.
Dead.
They're
dead.
And at any given time, any given game, like 4 more of them could get hurt. Like,
yeah,
like the Rams are starting Carson Wentz this week.
Yeah, because the Rams don't care if they win or lose.
Yeah, because they're in officially, aren't they?
Hold on, I get the player picture because that's next on our agenda tonight. The Rams are they clinched? They're in a playoff spot, and yes, they are clinched. They are clinched to a playoff spot. Yeah, because that's where we're going to spend some time today. Instead of America's favorite game, we're going to spend some time in the playoff picture and trying to figure out how this is going to happen. But I mean, it's so yeah. So this week, if I sound a little annoyed, it's mainly because the universe has decided that everybody's going to be. It's 2024, and apparently our New Year's resolution in the sports world was to be assholes to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I also saw. Yeah, you're going to be angry at me. I was on Twitter. I know. I'm not supposed to go on Twitter. The judge and my doctor told me not to, but I did. Some of the other podcasts and some of the other content providers out there are getting shit on for bad predictions.
Are they?
I saw George Edwards from Fantasy and Frames have to stand up. He's a guy who started right around the same time we did, and he has built a fantastic team and puts out fantastic content, particularly in the IDP realm. If you want IDP advice and you're not listening to Fantasy and Frames, then you're stupid. I'm just going to say it, you're stupid. They do amazing work there. Apparently, 1 or 2 of his guys took shots for preseason predictions that didn't come out to pass.
I mean,
really?
Because let's go down the hypothetical road. If you took the way Joe Burrow was playing and he didn't break his wrist, would the Ravens be atop the AFC North? I don't know.
Yeah. It's the hypothetical to happen every year, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if? Like, there's a great one right now in terms of the AFC playoff picture. The Chiefs are locked into the 3 seed. Just really quick, and we'll finish this topic. Just a great example. The Chiefs are locked into the 3 seed because they lost to the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
If that Kadarius Toney thing doesn't happen, if the official actually issues a warning like they do every time other than that moment, then the Chiefs win that game. The Chiefs are now the 2 seed. Well, what does that matter? It matters because now they may not host another game. They may host opening weekend and that's it, based on what happens in the other games. Well, that's not true. They got to host the first 2. But they would have a chance to host the AFC Championship, which is highly unlikely. And they probably have to play the Ravens in the second week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not true either. But they're definitely, if they've had to play the Ravens or the team that wins the AFC East, it'll be on the road. Mahomes has never won a playoff game on the road.
He hasn't?
No, I don't think he's actually ever played one. Because that year they were the 2 seed and got the bye. Whoever was the 1 seed got upset and ended up hosting the AFC Championship. So the Chiefs have Mahomes has never played a road playoff game.
They lost to the Bucs at home.
That was the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right.
That was neutral site.
Oh yeah,
neutral site.
Oh wait, no, that was the Patriots. What, didn't he lose a playoff game to Brady? His first start season.
No. That was Alex Smith.
Oh.
Because he didn't start. That was Alex Smith's last year. Yes, they lost in New England. No, that was not Mahomes. Mahomes became the starter a year later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you can get into that. My whole point is you can get into this what if. Well, if this had happened, if that had happened. Yeah, that's the way football rolls. That's just the nature of the game. Injuries are a part of the game. You know, I'm just tired of all the negative news. I have not been able to sit and actually enjoy a football game since I got back from Vegas.
See that?
And I enjoyed.
See that? Vegas corrupted you.
Vegas did corrupt me. Yeah. So really quick side, and I don't want to talk about the playoff picture more in depth. Latest odds from FanDuel to win the MVP. You have to bet on one of these. You tell me who you're taking.
Okay.
Brock Purdy at plus 2,500.
Mm-hmm.
Dak Prescott at plus 1,600.
Mm-hmm.
Or Lamar Jackson at negative 20,000.
I mean, if we're gambling, right? I would say Brock Purdy.
Negative 20,000.
Why would I bet that?
If I'm doing the math right in my head, that means $100 returns 102.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You have to wager $50 to win one.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'd rather put $20 on Brock Purdy.
$20 on Brock Purdy is going to return you $500.
See that?
I looked at these numbers and I went, this is a little out there, kids. Honestly, I'd put $10 on $10 on Dak Prescott and sleep like a baby, because if there's anybody who's going to be the darling of the media, it's going to be a freaking Cowboy.
I mean, it would be if they win a playoff game, which is unlikely.
Well, we'll get into that right now because the likelihood goes up based on these standings. So let's jump over and talk about the playoff picture.
All right.
As it stands right now, the Ravens are the 1 seed, and they are locked into the 1 seed. No one can catch them. They will have home field for as long as they stay alive. The 2 seed is currently the Dolphins, and they have secured a playoff berth, but they can still lose a division, which would knock them all the way down to the 6 seed. That's why Dolphins-Bills is the Sunday night game, because the winner of that game is going to win the division.
Okay.
So no bye on the line, but home field advantage on the line. The Chiefs are locked into the 3 seed, but they're a game behind the Dolphins. But what if the Dolphins lose? If the Dolphins lose and the Chiefs win, then the Chiefs would be tied with the Bills, and the Bills won head-to-head, so the Bills would be the 2 seed. Mm-hmm. See how important that game is now? Now Kansas City is literally playing for nothing. The teams that can catch them are teams they have the tiebreaker over, so they're locked into the 3. The 4 seed is currently the Jaguars, but it could be the Colts if the Jaguars lose and the Colts win. So that's still up in the air. The 5 seed is the Browns. Deep breath. Somehow, the Cleveland Browns are 11-5.
Joe Flacco is elite.
we were so wrong about the Browns, but nobody saw Flacco coming in, and nobody saw Flacco being this effective. So the Bills are currently the 6th seed, but that can change based on what happens with the Dolphins. The Dolphins could become the new 6, and the Colts are currently the 7th seed. So let's talk about the scenarios. Get comfy.
Okay, I'm ready.
Miami's in the playoffs, but they win the AFC East division with a win or a tie. Easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville clinches the South Division title if they win or if they tie and Indy Houston ties. So basically, Jacksonville is winning in. Jacksonville also can win a playoff berth if they tie and Pittsburgh loses, or if Pittsburgh and Denver both lose and Houston Indy doesn't end in a tie. So there's a backdoor way. Even if Jacksonville loses, they can still go to the playoffs with Pittsburgh and Denver losing. All right, so that's Jacksonville. Buffalo wins the title. Buffalo can still make the playoffs if they tie, Pittsburgh loses or ties, Jacksonville loses or ties, or Houston and Indy tie against each other. So Buffalo can still back into the playoffs. Indianapolis wins the South Division if they win and Jacksonville loses, the end. Jacksonville loses and Indy doesn't lose, Indianapolis wins the AFC South. Indianapolis wins the AFC South. Wow. If Indy wins, they're in with a playoff berth. They get the wild card regardless. Houston can also win the AFC South. If they win and Jacksonville loses, then Houston can clinch the AFC South. Houston can also clinch a playoff berth if they win and Jacksonville loses and Pittsburgh loses. But if Houston wins and Jacksonville loses, they're going to win the division anyway. So, last but not least, hope you're sitting down.
I'm sitting.
Here comes the basketball scenarios where the Pittsburgh Steelers can make the playoffs.
Okay.
Easy ones. If Pittsburgh wins and either Buffalo or Jacksonville lose, they're in. Either or.
Okay.
They can also get in if they win and Houston and Indy tie. They can also get in if they tie their game and Jacksonville loses and Houston Indy doesn't end in a tie. They can also get in without a win. If Pittsburgh loses, they can get in when Jacksonville loses, Denver wins, and Houston Indianapolis doesn't end in a tie. So we are in week 18, and there are 3 slots and 6 different teams that could claim them. This is a shit show.
That's a mess, and I hope the NFC is easier.
It's not. So let's break this down first. Okay. Does Miami beat Buffalo at home this week? Your thoughts? Let's clear that mess up right
Miami
away.
and Buffalo in January.
In Miami.
Oh, in Miami. I thought it was in Buffalo.
No, it's in Miami. Is a 3-point underdog.
Yeah. After what the Ravens did, yeah, I think it's going to be Buffalo.
All right, so that means Buffalo's going to win the division. Which means, how does Miami get in? No, Miami's already in. So if Buffalo wins a division, then that means Miami becomes a wild card. So then it comes, does Jacksonville win? Who's Jacksonville playing? Where is it?
The Colts? No.
At Tennessee. Does Jacksonville beat Tennessee this week?
No.
I think no.
No. I feel like something's going to get spoiled this weekend, and I feel like that has one of the higher probabilities.
Okay, so if Jacksonville loses, they could lose the AFC South. Does Indianapolis beat Houston in Houston?
No.
So that means Houston has 10 wins. That means Houston would win the division. Houston win a Jacksonville loss or tie. Okay. So that would mean Houston wins the division. Houston's the 4 seed. Buffalo would be the 6 seed. And then Pittsburgh would be winning in. So does Pittsburgh win at Baltimore, with Baltimore probably resting most of its people?
And where's the game?
Uh, in Baltimore.
Yeah, and mostly everyone's going to be not playing or playing half a game. Yeah, then I guess, I mean, it doesn't really matter if Baltimore loses, right? There's no way they can
Not
lose.
for them. No.
Yeah.
No, they've got a 2-game advantage on the home field.
Well, yeah, then, I can see them losing it, but again, like, if it doesn't matter, then yeah. Especially if...
So Pittsburgh,
yeah.
that would make Pittsburgh the 7th seed. That would put Pittsburgh in the playoffs. So that would therefore set up Pittsburgh at Buffalo, Miami at Kansas City, and Cleveland at Houston. Ladies and gentlemen, what a time to be alive. In 2024, we could see Cleveland at Houston in the first round of the playoffs.
Man, who would have thought? What if I went back in time and I told you in 2018 that was going to happen?
I would be like, Cleveland hasn't won a game in 2 years. There's no way that's going to happen. Wow. All right, so let's look at the NFC side of the board.
Sure.
Current standings now. San Francisco has locked up the bye. They're all set. Dallas has secured a playoff spot, but has not secured a division. Detroit has secured a division, and I'm pretty sure they're locked into the 3 spot. They may have a shot at the 2. And Tampa Bay sits in the 4, but has not locked up anything. So in both conferences, there are 2 teams in the Eastern Conference that are in the playoffs, but we're not sure which one's going to win a division. And there's like 3 teams in the South that could all still make the playoffs in both conferences.
Mm-hmm.
How bizarre this is. Philly sits as the 5 seed right now. The Rams are clinched at the 6 seed, and then the 7 seed right now is Green Bay, but that could change. So here's how this changes. If Dallas wins, they win the division. If Philly loses, they win a division. Dallas is at Washington. Philly is at the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any way either one of those teams lose. Can you see Dallas losing at Washington this week? I mean, Dallas has been bad on the road.
It's bad on the road. What's the weather like in Washington?
It's going to be snowy as F because it's just south of us.
That's true. And also, I mean, and it's a division game, and that can always get weird.
Same thing about Philly at the Giants. Are the Giants coming in here trying to play spoiler?
And they might, because Philadelphia has not been really up to par, which is kind of funny because I work with a Philadelphia fan, and he was like, they are not going to be as good this year.
Philly and Kansas City, the 2 teams that looked unstoppable on playoff runs last year, both are exceptionally vulnerable right now. Both of them are. All right, so Dallas at Washington, pick.
Washington.
Okay, Philly at Giants.
Philly.
That means Philly wins the division. So Philly would win the division, and Dallas would drop to a wild card slot. Tampa Bay wins the division if they win, or if they tie and New Orleans loses. So New Orleans can still win a division at 9 and so they're both 8-8. So New Orleans can still win a division. New Orleans is playing at home against Atlanta. Atlanta also has an outside shot for a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
So New Orleans at home against Atlanta. I like New Orleans, right?
Yeah, New Orleans. I would take New Orleans.
Okay, so New Orleans is going to have 9 wins. Tampa at Carolina.
Yeah, Tampa.
So Tampa will win the division then. So it'll be San Fran, Philly, Detroit, Tampa in that order. Detroit can actually move up to the 2 seed in that scenario too, but we'd have to see tiebreakers. The Rams are locked in, which means there's 1 playoff spot left. Green Bay, Seattle, Minnesota, and Atlanta. 4 teams, 1 spot.
All right. Say the list again.
Green Bay.
Yep.
Seattle, Minnesota, Atlanta.
I lean Seattle.
Okay, so you already said Atlanta's going to lose, right?
Yes.
So that takes them out of the mix. Minnesota would have to win in Detroit to put themselves in the conversation. Detroit's still playing for seeding. They're not going to rest their starters.
They are not, no.
I think Detroit beats Minnesota easily, right?
Yeah, this Minnesota team, I don't think it really has like a real chance.
let's take Minnesota and Atlanta out of the conversation. New Orleans is in. That means there's one spot for Tampa, Green Bay, or Seattle. Now, if Tampa loses, that puts them at 8 and 9. That means Green Bay would be winning in. And if Green Bay lost and Seattle won, Seattle would be in. Seattle's playing at Arizona.
I don't
know what to make of this team.
I think Arizona used up their magic. Like they got that big win against Philadelphia. I don't know if they can do it. Like I think they're still going to be mentally exhausted from last week to beat Seattle.
All right, and then the other option is Green Bay hosting the Bears. Can Green Bay win at home against the Bears?
Yes.
Then Green Bay's in. And the only thing that changes here is New Orleans becomes the 4 seed, and you liked Philly over to the Giants, right?
Yes.
So that puts them into the 2 seed. So you would have San Francisco, Philadelphia, Detroit, New Orleans, Dallas, LA, Green Bay, which means you got Green Bay at Philadelphia. It's a lot of green in that game right there.
Yes.
You'd have the Rams at Detroit, which is fascinating.
That would be interesting.
And you would have the Cowboys pissed off in the 5 slot going to New Orleans. You would have the 11 and 6 Cowboys going to the 9 and 8 Saints.
And the Saints get the upset.
That would be freaking awesome.
Imagine that. Derek Carr beats the Cowboys.
Oh my God. Are you kidding? Is there a path for them to win this Super Bowl and for Derek Carr to just walk around on a float, flipping people off and going, "Hey Raiders!"
Can you imagine that?
Raider fans, hey, you're number 1. Number 1.
That would be amazing.
It'd be exceptional.
I would pay pay-per-view money to watch that.
I would fly us down for that, I think. First off, you'd be in the middle of Mardi Gras.
That's true.
So
that is true.
All right, we're actually, believe it or not, running out of time. So let's move on. So these are the scenarios. These are what we think is going to happen. We'll see how it works out next week. DFS, your season's over. You have nothing better to do with your time. Don't fool anybody. Play DFS. That should be like DraftKings' new slogan. Just really quick, I like Geno Smith this week. He's only 6,100. I think Craig is right. Arizona is out of mojo. I like Geno Smith at quarterback. Is there anybody you like in particular quarterback this week?
I like Geno for the price. I don't think I'm really gonna. I don't think I'm going to overthink quarterback this week too much, or try not to.
The only other person I would like would be Tyrod Taylor at 5,300, but I think I'd rather spend up for Geno.
Yeah, agreed.
Running back, there is no value at running back. Pick 2 reliable people. The 2 reliable. I was going to go James Conner and Breece Hall, but I don't trust Conner, so I'm going Breece Hall, and I'm probably going Tyjae Spears. Spears is only 4,600. I think Jacksonville is going to be worn out a little bit. Historically, Tennessee does run well against Jacksonville. And Tennessee's going to see snowed like the day before, so the ground might be a little slick. It might be more of a running game. So I like Breece Hall and I like Tyjae Spears. Who do you like at running back?
Running back. I do agree with you. There's no real value. Like most people are going to be between 6,800 and like 5,000, depending on what you want to spend it on.
Yeah.
Like,
what do you think about Jamal Williams at 5,200 in a game that New Orleans needs
after his week last week, and he ran like the running back I thought he would be at the beginning of the year? I don't mind that at 5,200. I think that's pretty good. And if it's gonna snow, and it's a division game, Brian Robinson Jr., he's only 5,400. Just saying, maybe.
Against a Dallas defense that has really been making its mark by over pursuing the passer last couple weeks. Yeah, I can see that.
And then if you want to pay up, I would probably go with James Conner, like as the most expensive.
I just don't know that he's such a coin flip. I love him, and he's such a coin flip. I want to use him. I just can't bring myself to do it. Wide receiver, Darius Slayton's only 4,000, but again, weather, so I'm not touching it. Demario Douglas is only 4,400, not touching it because of weather. Wan'Dale Robinson, 4,200, not touching it because of weather. Hey, look, Brandon Cooks, 5,200 in weather. So
All
I'm
weather.
looking down. I'm looking down the list this week. You want to know what the people I'm reaching for this week? The Chiefs are targeting Richie James a little bit more, and the Chargers defense sucks. Richie James, the guy who's our return specialist.
Oh.
He's been getting targets. So I like him this week, and he's only 3,000. He's a risky play, guys. Do not go nuts on it. I want to pay up for Chris Olave, 6,700, but I think he's going to get to 16 points, and that's going to be a pretty good turnaround. I also like Tyler Lockett, 5,600 in Arizona. I think all three of those are reasonable plays, but I am going to avoid any games that are outdoors on the East Coast this weekend.
No,
and the Giants,
I agree.
The Jets, Washington, and Philly are all home. Those are all games to avoid with wide receivers. Any other thoughts?
No, I totally agree with you. Like, the weather on the East Coast is going to be really bad, so definitely pick West Coast games, like,
or dome.
Like, the Rams and the 49ers, for example, or who else? Seattle and Arizona.
Yeah, absolutely. Our accumulation numbers are down, but that's only because I think it's going to be ice. Great. That's better? No. Tight end, I look at my rankings, and the first name that pops to the top of the list is Tyler Conklin because he's only 3,300, but he's in New England, so I'm not touching that game. I'm honestly, I want to use Evan Ingram because he's 5,400, and Jacksonville seems to be going to him a little bit more, but again, outdoors, East Coast-ish. So honestly, I'm looking at, where is he? Crap, where'd he go? I might spend up for Trey McBride at 6,000. That's really expensive, but it's either him or George Kittle at 5,200. Maybe George Kittle at 5,200 is a better option. So I might go there. But I mean, San Francisco doesn't really need to win anything this weekend. They've already got stuff tied up. So how much is he actually going to play? I don't know. Kyle Pitts is a waste of my time. I can't even believe his name just left my mouth. Can you pay up for Sam Laporta at 6,200?
That would be the most I would pay up for.
I might have to chalk this up to Sam Laporta at 6,200. Where's my buddy? Travis Kelce. He's 6,600. Yeah, no, I would not touch Travis. I would probably look at Sam Laporta. And then defenses, you spent a ton of money on everything else because I'm avoiding like literally 4 games off the slate in my mind. So, you know who I really like at defense? I like the Giants at 2,300.
Yeah, that's not bad.
The Patriots at 3,600 is usable. They're just they're so more expensive that I don't want to touch it. Yeah, I mean, I would target a game that is cheap and is East Coast.
Yes.
Because I think it's going to be a monkey nightmare of field conditions. And at $2,300, that's going to save me enough money to go big elsewhere. And Craig has said Philadelphia doesn't look great. So
yeah,
why wouldn't you make that switch?
That's right. I agree.
Anybody jumping out?
Not really. I mean, going with that train of thought, like, maybe Washington. But, I agree with either them or the Giants.
Washington's $100 cheaper.
So,
yeah. Let's see how it plays out. But yeah, definitely pay attention to weather this week more so than any other week. East Coast weather is going to be bad. It should affect your decisions. It absolutely should affect your starting decisions this week. All right, final thoughts. Craig, what do you got for me this week?
Final thoughts. It's the week before the playoffs is always crazy. So my final thought is just if you're betting, go light. Go light this week.
Yes. Oh my God, that is exactly what I was going to say. You're either at a point in your budget where you are up and you are just playing with house money, or you're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Either way, stick to your budget and bet light because this week is going to be weird. So What's not weird is leaving us a review wherever you found us. Whatever podcast directory, probably Apple, that you found us on, leave us a review. It really does help the show. You can also reach out to us anytime you'd like. We are Fignuts at... Oh, Jesus, I just botched our own email. We're fignutsdfs@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. We are the Football Fignuts Podcast on Facebook. Look us up. Write to us. We'd love to hear from you. Another week in the books. Another season in the books. Hopefully next week we come back and we actually have positive things to talk about, because I don't like being this negative. Oh man, did the universe just like hand me bad story after bad story?
Yeah, it's all bad. Yep.
It's all bad. It's all bad.
Yep.
So, but no, football doesn't have to be bad. Just us. We're salty. Our teams stink. You know, the Grinch stole our presents and our roast beast. I don't know what to tell you, but so. All right. Well, we'll be back next week to start breaking down the actual playoff matchups. We'll see how close we got to the actual setup, and we'll find out next week, and then we'll just jump right into the offseason.
That sounds good to me.
Hopefully you're celebrating a championship this week. Congratulations if you did. Congratulations to our contributor to the Cinch, who won our ancient the 31st annual CTFFL championship.
Yep. He cheated and he knows it. No, he didn't.
He cheated. He knows it. Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. But that's not true. No,
that's not true. Cheat.
You didn't
cheat.
He's driving his truck. Don't drive off the road. We'll be back next week to break it all down. Thank you so much for joining us, as always. Until next week, my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And we are the Football Fignuts Podcast. Hi, Deb. Thanks for the cookies.